Hello students, I'm Sai Baba here. So in my previous class, I was discussing the solutions for the questions in the assignment in rotational motion. I mean second part of the assignment with questions numbering from 31 to 60. So I have already discussed the solutions of the questions numbering up to 47. So in this class, I am going to discuss the solutions of the questions numbering from 48 to 60. Come on, look at the screen. I am going to read out the question number 48. Many great rivers flow towards the equator. What effect does the sediment they carry to sea on the rotation of the earth? So, as you might have studied in the lower classes, of course, again we discuss the same aspect in gravitation also. The shape of the earth is not a perfect sphere. Earth is slightly more bulged at the equator and near flat at the poles. So Earth rotates about the axis passing through the poles. The length of the day is nothing but the time period of rotation of the Earth about the axis passing through the poles. So when rivers flow towards the equator, a portion of the mass of the system will be shifted to a larger distance from the axis of rotation. The moment of inertia of the system about an axis given by equals sigma mr square. So when rivers flow towards the equator, then some sediment is carried towards the equator. That means a portion of the mass of the earth is shifted towards the equator. That means the average distance r from the axis will be increased, or the average value of r square is increased. Therefore, moment of inertia of system about the polar axis, that is about the axis passing through the poles, increases. So angular momentum of the system about the polar axis can be written as product of its moment of inertia and angular velocity of rotation. So that is a constant. Therefore, omega you can write L by I. So omega is inversely related to the moment of inertia. So when moment of inertia of system increases, angular speed omega decreases. That is, angular speed of rotation of the earth about the polar axis decreases. Or speed of rotation decreases. Angular speed of rotation. So angular speed of rotation about the polar axis can be done 2 pi by time period. So the time period of rotation of the earth about the polar axis increases. Or length of the day slightly increases due to this effect. So for question number 48, first option is answer. See the next question, question number 49. When a stopper is pulled from a filled wash basin, the water drains out while circulating like a small whirlpool. The angular velocity of fluid element about the vertical axis through the orifice appears to be greater near the orifice. The angular velocity of the fluid element varies as. So let delta m denote the mass of a fluid element which is rotating about the vertical axis passing through the orifice means hole through which water drains out after removing the stopper. So the angular momentum of the fluid element about the vertical axis, you can write product of its moment of inertia and angular speed of rotation. The moment of inertia of the fluid element, you can write delta m into r square. So from conservation of angular momentum, you can write L is constant here. So omega will be inversely related to square of the distance. So if you look at the options, here in the first option it is given that angular velocity of the fluid element varies inversely as the square of its distance from through the orifice. That means for the question number 49, first option is answer. See the next question, question number 50. A man turns on rotating table with an angular speed omega. Is holding two masses at the arm's length, equal masses. Without moving his arms, he just drops the two masses. How will the angular speed change? Now the moment of inertia of system, I consider the man and the masses dropped as one system. So here, total moment of inertia of system over the vertical axis is equal to moment of inertia of the turntable along with the man plus moment of inertia of the two masses. M is the mass of each object which the man holds in his hands. Then moment of inertia of the two equal masses about the vertical axis, you can write 2 into mr square. So when the man drops the two masses, then moment of inertia of system about the vertical axis decreases. Moment of inertia system about the vertical axis decreases. So from conservation of angular momentum, we can write L equal I into omega is constant. So omega is L by I. So when moment of inertia of system decreases, angular speed of rotation about the vertical axis increases. So it will be more than W. Second option will be the answer for question number 50. See the next question, question number 51. When the polar ice caps melt, what would be the possible effect on the Earth's time period of rotation? So Earth rotates about the axis, passing through the poles. So there are ice caps near the poles. So when as polar ice caps melt to form water, when polar ice caps melt to form water, what are the mass of this water will be shifted to a larger distance from the axis of rotation. So when polar ice caps melt, that means when ice caps near the poles melt to form water, a portion of the mass of the system, that is Earth, will be shifted to larger distance from the axis of rotation. Therefore, moment of inertia of system, which is given by I equals sigma mr square, increases. So from conservation of angular momentum, we can write L equal to I into omega is constant. So when moment of inertia of system increases, L is constant. So angular speed of rotation about the polar axis decreases. The length of the day is nothing but the time taken by the Earth to complete one revolution about the axis passing through the poles. So if T is the length of the day, that is the time period of rotation of the Earth about the polar axis, then omega can be written as 2 pi by capital T. So when omega decreases, this time period of rotation about the polar axis increases. Or you can say length of the day slightly increases when the polar ice caps melt. So look at the options for question number 51. First option is answer for question number 51. So look at the question number 52. A boy of mass 30 kg running with a velocity of 3 meters per second on the ground, just tangentially to a merry-go-round, which is at rest. The merry-go-round has a radius r equal to 2 meters and a mass of 120 kg. And its radius of gyration is 1 meter. The boy suddenly jumps on the merry-go-round. The angle of velocity acquired by system. So here we consider the boy and the merry-go-round together as one system, and we can apply conservation of angular momentum to solve the problem. The mass of the boy I denoted by small n, that is given to be 30 kg. The mass of the merry-go-round I denoted by capital M, which is given to be 120 kg. The radius of the merry-go-round denoted by small r, which is equal to 2 meters. The magnitude of the linear velocity with which the boy runs denoted by v, that is 3 meters per second. The radius of gyration is denoted by k, that is 1 meter. So initially the merry boy is running almost along the tangent to the merry-go-round, but merry-go-round is at rest. So when the boy jumps onto the merry-go-round, the boy and the merry-go-round rotate about the common axis, that is about the axis of the merry-go-round, about the vertical axis passing through the center of the merry-go-round. It's a common angular speed omega. That omega denotes the final angular speed acquired by the system of the merry-go-round and the boy. So we can apply conservation of angular momentum. So the final angular momentum of the system is equal to final angular momentum of the merry-go-round plus final angular momentum of the boy. Initial angular momentum of the system of the boy and the merry-go-round. Can write initial angular momentum of the merry-go-round plus initial angular momentum of the boy. That L subscript M denote the initial angular momentum of the merry-go-round. L subscript B or boy represents the initial angular of the boy. LM dash denote the final angular momentum of the merry-go-round, which you can write momentum of inertia of the merry-go-round into final angular speed. L dash subscript boy is the final angular of the boy. That is equal to momentum of inertia of the boy into angular speed of rotation. So finally both the boy and the merry-go-round together with a common angular speed. I be the momentum of inertia of the boy. So momentum of inertia omega you can take common outside. Momentum of inertia of the merry-go-round you can write capital M into k square, where k is the radius of gyration of the merry-go-round about the axis of rotation. Momentum of inertia of the boy you can write small m into small r square. The mass M of the buoy is concentrated distance equal to R from the axis of rotation. There R is the radius of merry-go-round. You can take omega common outside here. Initial angular momentum of the merry-go-round is 0 because the merry-go-round is initially at rest. So initial angular momentum of the buoy is equal to moment of inertia of the buoy into initial angular speed of the buoy about the axis center of the merry-go-round. Angular momentum of the buoy can write moment of inertia of the buoy is equal to mr square. Initial angular speed of the buoy can write initial linear speed by radius of circular path in which the buoy moves. So initial angular momentum of the buoy about the center of the merry-go-round, you can write mvr. V is the initial speed with which the buoy runs, just tangential to the merry-go-round. So from conservative angular momentum principle, final angular momentum system of the buoy and the merry-go-round can be equated to the initial angular momentum system. So final angular momentum system of the buoy and the merry-go-round, you can write capital M into K square plus small m into R square into omega. Initial angular momentum system is equal to mvr. Now substitute all the values given in the problem, both on the left hand side, right hand side, find the value, can find the value of omega. So those students who want to copy the solution of the problem, please take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. I also try to complete the simplification part and you can check up your calculation. So you should get the answer as 3/4 radian per second. So for question number 52, fourth option is the answer. See the question number 53. Circular horizontal platform of mass capital M is rotating with angular velocity omega about its axis passing through the center. What will be the angular speed when the buoy of mass small m, initially standing at the center, is moved to its edge? Assume the circular platform as a circular disc. So the buoy is initially standing near the center of the circular platform. She is rotating about the vertical axis, passing through the center of the platform with an angular speed omega. The mass of the platform is denoted by capital M. Let R be the radius of the platform. The platform can be treated like a circular disc here. The buoy shifts to the edge. So new distance of buoy from the vertical axis passing through center of the platform can be taken to be same as the radius R of the platform. Let omega dash denote the final angular speed of rotation. You consider the buoy and the platform together as one system. So total angular system of the buoy and the platform about the vertical axis will remain conserved because the total angular system changes only due to external torques acting on system. Total angular momentum of the system will not be changed due to the moments of the internal forces or internal torques between the object and the system. So final angular momentum system of the buoy and the platform is equal to final angular momentum of the platform plus final angular momentum of the buoy. Initial angular momentum system of the buoy and the platform is equal to initial angular momentum of the platform plus initial angular momentum of the buoy. LB is the initial angular momentum of the buoy. LP is the initial angular momentum of the platform. LP dash is the final angular momentum of the platform. LB dash is the final angular momentum of the buoy. Omega dash is the final angular speed. So angular momentum of the platform, initial angular momentum of the platform, we can write point of inertia of the platform into initial multiplied by initial angular speed. So final angular to the platform is equal to moment of inertia of the platform into final angular speed. Moment of inertia of the platform are denoted by IP. Now platform can be treated like a circular disc. Therefore, moment of inertia of the platform about the vertical axis passing through the center of platform can be written as Kepler into r square by 2. Final angular over to the buoy is equal to moment of inertia of the buoy. The second case into final angular speed. That is can be written as moment of inertia of the platform plus moment of inertia of the buoy in second case into omega dash. So final angular moment of inertia of the buoy in second case you can write m into r squared. Moment of inertia of the buoy in the first case. Small m in the first case, the distance of the buoy from center axis 0. That is small r is 0. Small r is the initial distance of the buoy from the axis. You can write moment of inertia of the buoy about the vertical axis in the first case. You can write small m into r square. But initially the buoy is standing at center, so small r is 0. So initial value of the moment of inertia of the buoy is 0. So initial angle of the buoy can be taken as 0. Therefore, final angular momentum, the system of the buoy and the platform. In this equation, you can substitute moment of inertia of the platform as m into r square by 2. Moment of inertia of the buoy in second case equals small m into r square. So you can take r square common outside. So from conservation of angular momentum, you can write final angular momentum system is equal to the initial angular momentum system. Final angular momentum system, you can write Kepler plus 2 into small m into r square by 2 into omega dash. Initial angular momentum system is equal to moment of inertia of the platform into omega. So you can cancel r square by 2 both sides. So you get omega dash equal to m omega by Kepler plus 2 into small m. Those who want to copy the solution of the problem, they can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So for question number 53, first option will be the answer. So look at the next question, question number 54. The dancer spins about the vertical axis at 60 revolutions per minute with her arms folded. She stretches her hand so that the moment of inertia about the vertical axis increases by 25%. The new rate of revolution is. Here we consider the dancer as one system. The weight mg of the dancer acts at the center of gravity. The normal reaction force by the floor on which the dancer skates or spins also acts in the vertical direction, the upward direction. So here the dancer spins about the vertical axis passing through the center of mass of the system. So lines of action of both the forces, that means the gravitational force mg and normal reaction force by the floor, both pass through the center of mass, and that means lines of action of these two forces coincide with the axis of rotation or parallel to the axis of rotation. Therefore, moment of each one of these forces about the vertical axis about which the dancer spins will be 0. So when no external torque acts on system, total angular on the system will be constant. That is, I into omega will be constant. So when the dancer stretches her hands, moment of inertia of system increases, the angular speed of revolution decreases. So here I can write the new moment of inertia denoted by dash, new angular speed by omega dash. Initial moment of inertia denoted by the initial angular speed of rotation about the vertical axis. I denote by omega. So here moment of inertia of system increases by 25%. So we can write the ratio of the new moment of inertia I dash and initial moment of inertia 125 by 100 because moment of inertia of system increased by 25%. So if the initial moment of inertia of system is 100 units, the new moment of inertia of system will be 100 plus 25 units or 125 units. So I dash by I can be written as 5 by 4 or I by I dash, we can write 4 by 5. So initial angular speed of rotation can write 2 point initial frequency of rotation. New angular speed of revolution can write 2 pi into new frequency of rotation. Substituting these values here, left hand side omega dash, you can write 2 pi n dash. On the right hand side, I by I dash can be written as equal to 4 by 5. In omega, you can write 2 pi n. So new frequency of rotation will be 4 by 5 times the initial frequency of rotation. The initial frequency of rotation is 660 revolutions per minute. So new frequency of rotation will be 48 revolutions per minute. So if you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So for question number 54, first option is answer. See the question number 55. A thin uniform circular disc of mass capital M and radius capital R is rotating horizontal plane about an axis passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane with angular velocity omega. Another disc of same dimensions but of mass so I read out the last line again. Another disc of same dimensions but of mass m by 4 is placed gently on the first disc coaxially. The angular velocity of the system now is. So here also we can consider the two circular discs as one system and we can apply the conservation of angular motion. Let us first find the ratio of the moment of inertia of second disc to the moment of inertia of the first disc. Moment of inertia of uniform circular disc about the axis perpendicular to the plane of the disc and passing through the center of the disc is given by r square by 2. So moment of inertia of first circular disc, you can write m1 into r square by 2. m1 is the mass of first circular disc. Moment of inertia of second circular disc, you can write m2 into r square by 2. m2 is the mass of second circular disc. R is the radius of the circular disc. It is given that both the circular discs have same dimensions. Therefore, the mass, the radius of second disc is same as the radius of first disc. So, mass of the first circular disc is given to be m. And mass of second circular disc is m by 4. So, you get I2 by I1 equal to 1 by 4. Or you can write I2 equal to I1 by 4. Applying conservation of angular momentum for system of the two disks. Final angular momentum system of the two disks at the instant just after they are coupled, same as initial angular momentum system just before they are coupled with each other. Initial angular momentum system of the two disks, initial angular momentum the first disk plus initial angular momentum second disk. Final angular momentum system of the two disks is equal to final angular momentum the first disk plus final angular momentum second disk. Here L1 is the initial angular momentum the first disk, L2 is the initial angular momentum second disk. L1 dash is the final angular momentum the first disk, and L2 dash is the final angular momentum second disk. Initial angular momentum the first disk you can write moment definition of first disk into initial angular speed of rotation of the first disk, which is given to omega. The second disk is initial at rest, therefore initial angular momentum second disk can be taken as 0. Final angular momentum the first disk you can write I1 into omega dash. And final angular momentum second disk about the same axis you can write I2 into omega dash. So omega dash is the final common angular velocity of rotation of the two disks about the vertical axis passing through center of the each disk. So you can take omega dash common left side I1 plus I2 equal to I1 into omega. Now can substitute I2 equal to I1 by 4 on the left hand side. Can substitute I2 equal to I1 by 4 on the left hand side and simplify it further. So those who want to copy the solution of the problem, they can copy the solution of the problem. So after simplification, you get omega dash is equal to 4 by 5 times omega. If you need more time to copy the solution, you can take a pause. So for question number 55, first option is the answer. See the question number 56. A horizontal disk rotating freely about a vertical axis makes 100 revolutions per minute. Small piece of wax of mass 0.01 kg falls vertically on the disk and adheres to it at a distance of 0.09 meters from the axis. If the number of revolutions per minute is thereby reduced to 90, the amount of inertia of the disk in kg meter square is. So we consider the disk and the small piece of wax together as one system. So here the moment of inertia of the disk can be adjusted to be constant. And omega denotes the initial angular speed of rotation of the disk about the vertical axis passing through its center. The piece, let small m denote the mass of the piece of wax which falls on the disk. Let small r denote the perpendicular distance between the position of the piece of wax from the vertical axis passing through the center of the disk. So initially, the piece of wax moves in the vertical direction. So initial angular momentum of the piece of wax initial angular of the piece of wax about the vertical axis acts in what direction? So you can, if you use the basic definition of the angular momentum, the angular momentum of the piece of wax about the center of the disk using that formula, L bar equal R bar cross P bar, acts initial angle of the piece of wax before it falls onto the disc acts perpendicular to axis in the horizontal direction. Therefore, initial angular mode of the piece of wax along the axis of rotation can be taken as 0. So, initial angular mode of the piece of wax about the vertical axis passing through the center of the disc acts perpendicular to the axis of the disc from cross product rule R bar cross P bar. Because the linear momentum P bar of the piece of wax is initially directed vertically downwards, R bar is directed horizontally away from the center of the disc. So R bar cross P bar acts in the horizontal direction perpendicular axis of the disc. So initial angular momentum of the piece of wax with respect to center of the disc at the instant just before the wax falls onto the disc acts in the horizontal direction perpendicular to the axis of rotation. So initial angular momentum of the piece of wax along the axis can be taken as 0. Applying conservative angular momentum system of the disc and the piece of wax, the final angular momentum of the system of the disc and piece of wax is equal to initial angular momentum of the system. So initial angular momentum of the system of the piece of wax and is equal to moment of inertia of the disc and initial angular speed denoted by omega. Initial angular momentum of the piece of wax about the vertical axis along the axis is 0. So final angular momentum of the system of the disc and the piece of wax, so final angular momentum of the disc is equal to I into omega dash. Where I is the moment of inertia of the disc, omega dash is the new angular speed of rotation of the disc about the vertical axis passing through center. New moment of inertia, new angular momentum of the piece of wax after it falls onto the disc is equal to moment of inertia of the piece of wax into new angular speed of rotation. So after the piece of wax sticks to the disc, both the disc and the piece of wax rotate over the common axis with the same angular speed denoted by I dash, omega dash. So moment of inertia of the piece of wax when it falls onto the disc, you can write small m into r square. Smaller is the distance of the point at which the piece of wax falls on the disc from the axis. Smaller is the mass of the piece of wax. So new value of omega dash. So here from this you can write I plus mr square is equal to I into omega by omega dash. So you can write here small m is the mass of piece of wax, that is 0.01 kg. Small r is the distance of the perpendicular distance between the position of piece of wax from the axis, which is given to be 0.09 meter. Omega is the initial angular speed, that is equal to point initial frequency of rotation. Omega dash is the new angular speed that you can write 2 pi times new frequency of rotation. So this you can try to simplify it. So I plus this you can write on the left hand side 81 into 10 power minus 6 kg meter square. On the right hand side you can write I into n is the initial frequency of rotation, that is 100 revolutions per minute. And our new frequency of rotation is given to 90 revolutions per minute. So you can try to simplify this further. Come on, those who want to copy the solution of the problem, they can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So for question number 56, first option will be the answer. Come on, see the next question. Question number 57. This question was asked 2 or 3 times in the previous MCET exam papers. You see the question number 57. Uniform metal rod of length L and mass m is rotating about an axis passing through one of the ends, perpendicular to the rod with angular speed omega. The temperature increases by T degree centigrade. Then the change in its angular velocity is proportional to which of the following? So you are given 4 options in terms of omega. So applying conservation of angular principle, the final angular moment of the rod about the vertical axis can be written as equal to initial angular momentum. So initial angular momentum we can write I into omega. I is the initial moment of inertia of the rod about the vertical axis. Final angular momentum of the rod about the vertical axis passing through all the ends, you can write I dash into omega dash, where I dash is the new moment of inertia. So you can write omega dash equal to I by I dash into omega. So when the rod is rotating about an axis, passing through one of its ends and perpendicular to its length, the moment of inertia I can be written as m into L square by 3. The new moment of inertia I can write m into L dash square by 3, where L dash is the new length, L is the original length. Mass of the rod will not change due to change in temperature. So omega dash you can write new original length into new length L dash whole square into omega. From what you study in the expansion of solids, the temperature of the rod changes the final length L dash, you can write original length L, the 1 plus alpha into change in the temperature, denoted by delta T here. So you can write L dash equal to L into 1 plus alpha into delta T, which is equal to T here. So you get omega dash equal to omega into 1 plus alpha delta T power minus 2. This you can approximate using the binomial approximation. So one approximation which we repeatedly use based on using binomial theorem is that if modulus of x is very small compared to 1, then 1 plus x power n or minus n. Right, 1 minus n into x, where n is a rational number. Here in place of x you have alpha into delta t. The product alpha into delta t in practice will be definitely much less than 1. So using that approximation, this you can write omega dash equal to omega into 1 minus 2 alpha delta t. So changing the angular speed denoted by delta omega, I can write omega dash minus omega. Can substitute omega dash equal to omega into 1 minus 2 alpha delta t. So those who want to copy the solution of the problem, please take a pause and finish copying the solution of the problem. If you simplify this, you get minus 2 alpha delta t into omega. That is the change in angular speed. So for question number 57, second option is answer. See the question number 58. The moment of inertia of uniform disk about an axis passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane is 1 kg meter square. It is rotating with an angular velocity of 100 radian per second. Another identical disk is gently placed on it so that their centers coincide. Now these two disks continue to rotate about the same axis. Then the loss in kinetic energy in kilojoules is. So we will consider the two disks as one system and will apply conservation of angular momentum. So moment of inertia of second disk is same as the moment of inertia of the first disk, which is given to 1 kg meter square. So initial angular speed of rotation of the first disk is given to be 100 radian per second, and initial angular speed of second disk can be taken as 0. Applying conservative angular momentum, final angular system of the two disks can be equated to initial angular system. The final angular system, initial angular system of the two disks is the product of initial angular of the first disk plus initial angular of second disk. Final angular system of the two disks L1 dash plus L2 dash. Here L1 is the initial angular momentum of the first disk and L2 is the initial angular of the second disk. L1 dash is the final angular of the first disk. L2 dash is the final angular of the second disk. So the initial angular momentum of the first disk can write I1 omega 1. Initial angular of the second disk is 0 because second disk is initial at rest. Final angular of the first disk you can write I1 into omega. And final angular of the second disk I2 into omega. Omega is the final common angular velocity of the system of the two disks. So you get omega into I1 plus I2. I2 can be written as equal to I1 because both the disks have same value of moment of inertia. So omega you get I1 omega 1 by 2, I1 or omega 1 by 2. So initial final kinetic energy decrease the kinetic energy or kinetic energy lost is equal to initial kinetic energy minus final kinetic energy of system. So initial kinetic energy system we can write half I1 omega 1 square. In final kinetic energy system of the two disks is equal to half I1 omega square plus half I2 omega square, or half of I1 plus I2 into omega square. You can write I2 equal to I1 because both the disks have same value of moment of inertia. And omega equal to omega 1 by 2. You try to simplify this further. If you simplify this further, you get 1 by 4th of I1 omega 1 square. I will continue my discussion next class.